All right, I'm live. How's it going? So I'm streaming right now on YouTube and on Twitch. I'm likely going to be here for an hour, maybe a little longer than an hour. Um so I'm going to try to get in as many super chats as they come in. But I'm going to begin since we have a good group here on YouTube and the group is growing right now on Twitch. Um I want to begin with this story. 1 second. That right there. And I'm down here. All right. So this story came into my feed today and I laughed. I laughed at the title. To be super fair, the article goes into more detail. But as we all know, a lot of people just read the headlines and that's where they learn things. So if you were to read this headline, CBC lawmakers rip Justice Democrats for targeting black lawmakers for primaries. It sounds horrible. Oh my God, the Justice Democrats, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's group, they're going after these black lawmakers, these black Democrats. Why are they trying to take them out? This is terrible. Of course, if you know anything about anything. Actually, let's hold that. Let's go a little more into this article before I expose how freaking stupid it is. All right. So here's what's going on. The Congressional Black Caucus members are furious at Justice Democrats, accusing the outside progressive group, aligned with Firebrand AOC, of trying to oust lawmakers of color, specifically African American lawmakers. Justice Democrats is backing primary challengers to 8-term Representative Henry Coyer, a Hispanic caucus member. Those Justice Democrats targeting a Hispanic caucus member. And 10-term Lacey Clay. Oh my God, Lacey Clay. They're going after everybody here. Member of the Congressional Black Caucus, of course. The insurgent group also made noise this year about challenging Democratic Caucus Chairman Hakeem Jeffries, a Congressional Black Caucus member, seen as heir apparent to Speaker Nancy Pelosi. All right. Now, you read this article, you think, the Justice Democrats, this white group, this group of likely a lot of white men, taking over Congress here, trying to push out the Congressional Black Caucus. So let's just see what the Justice Democrats are up to. What are they doing here? I cannot believe that they would target lawmakers like this. This is just horrible. Why would they do this? Why would they do this? I mean, who can they possibly be running against these congressional black lawmakers? Who are they running against these candidates? I mean, get ready for the whiteness. Wait a second here. What's going on? So Marie Newman, who wasn't mentioned in the piece, is running against Dan Lipinski, who, by the way, is a white guy. Dan Lipinski, of course, if you don't know, he's the guy that one of the few Democrats who opposes abortion rights, and of course, Medicare for All, Green New Deal. He's very conservative, so that's who Marie Newman's going against. But wait, who is challenging? I mean, who's challenging Lacey Clay? Who would dare do that? Oh, Cori Bush, a woman of color. A woman of color is challenging a black lawmaker. This is for some reason not in the headline. The headline wants you to think that, oh, no, look at this. They're targeting black lawmakers. Clearly that means they're trying to get out black lawmakers and not replace them with new ones. No, they are replacing these black lawmakers with people that actually represent their communities, that actually support the policies that their communities support, like Cori Bush, like Jamal Bowman, who's going after, it's not in here, but Elliot Engel, I believe his name is, in New York. And Henry Coyer, he came up earlier in that piece. We see here, going after Henry Coyer, Hispanic caucus member. How dare the Justice Democrats? Oh, it's Jessica Cisneros is going after his seat. I see. Like, the issue isn't really the article, because the article goes into that. Um, or I mean, it mentions that. It doesn't make it the highlight of the piece. The issue is the headline, which oftentimes is written by the editor, not the actual author of the piece. But the real problem here are the congressional black lawmakers that don't mention this at all. They don't mention who's primarying them. I mean, it's just like these stories. This stuff, in addition to the stuff with Nancy Pelosi going after the Justice Dems that are currently in Congress. I mean, I'm getting tired of basically what I see as discussing obvious points. All of this, if you do any amount of research, Google is very simple to use. You do any amount of research, you would discover what this is all actually about. These people are afraid of losing their power. They have a bad record. These primary challenges are going to expose that, and they're afraid of losing their seat. That's all this is about. But no, it turns into a thing about the Just Democrats going after people of color when it's just not. And some of these quotes from these people, like this one, it just seems strange that the social Democrats seem to be targeting members of the Congressional Black Caucus. It's very strange. It's very strange. Individuals who have stood and fought to make sure that African Americans are included and part of this process. Oh, it's so strange that they're trying to replace them with other black lawmakers that better represent their districts. I don't know what the agenda is, but if they want to come after members of the Black Caucus, it's two ways, warned Meeks, the Queen's Democratic Party boss who clashed with Justice Dems in a local district attorney race last month. Oh, you don't say. Is that the Caban race? Democrats are hoping that Ocasio-Cortez, the rabble-rousing freshman with 4.7 million Twitter followers, gets a primary challenge herself in 2020. I would love to see how that one goes. I think eventually they clear some of this up. I mean, look, yeah, they say here, Ocasio-Cortez, who is Hispanic, unseated Joe Crowley, a powerful white man in the Democratic Party. I mean, maybe that should be in the headline. Cori Bush, a nurse. She's the one going for Clay's seat. I mean, all of this is just gross. How they're like it's how it's all framed. Like, that's the real issue here. It's the framing of the conversation. When you frame these conversations always from the establishment or the corporate wing of the party's point of view, then that's going to have an effect on the electorate, on what people think, on the default positions that people hold. Simply the framing of these stories and framing of questions, like framing of questions in debates, always being framed from a right-wing perspective, the framing alone dictates the conversation. So from the jump, you don't have an honest conversation about these things. Again, Ayanna Pressley took out a white man. I mean, this stuff is, like, it's gross how they're trying to go after these lawmakers or these candidates for simply trying to run campaigns for people, to represent people. Look, so the article does a good job of explaining everything. See Jamal Bowman there going after Elliot Engel. But yeah, I mean, this stuff is just gross. So I wanted to start with that. Just this, of course, every single day there's going to be some kind of hit piece on these. Hey, look at that. It mentions Kyle Kulinski, Cenk Uygur. Of course, trying to pin it on them. This group started by two men who have nothing to do with it anymore, but the group was started by them, so clearly something's up with that. Actually, four men. Even worse. All right. Enough of that. Yeah, I think that pretty much speaks for itself. I also want to play some video. So let me go to the chat, actually, because I'm either going to do The View first or I'm going to do Bernie on Maddow. Now, I can't find the full Bernie on Maddow interview. It was on the MSNBC website yesterday, though now I can't find it. And they only put up a 2-minute clip on the YouTube page. So I may just have to play that. But do you want to hear the View first, or do you want to hear let me look at both YouTube and Twitch. Do you want to hear the View, or do you want to hear Bernie on Maddow? What should I do first? I see someone on Twitch say the View with lol, and then someone else says View. I'm seeing votes for View right now. The View. Okay, I'm getting lots of views. Getting lots of views. All right, let's go with the View. So here we go. Hot topics. This is going to be another fun time. So this was from yesterday's show. They had a nice long discussion. I'm gonna play a bit, then pause it whenever I feel like I ought to say something. I didn't watch it all yesterday. I watched a lot of it. I mean, no, everybody on this panel is wrong. Let me just preface it by saying that. Okay, so here we go.
So yesterday, Speaker Nancy Pelosi held a closed-door meeting with Democrats to tell them to stop airing their grievances on social media. The war of words started after freshman congressmen known as the Squad, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, and Anya Presley, were the only 4 Democrats to vote against the emergency border bill. Now, Pelosi told the New York Times it proves that they have, a following in their Twitter world, and AOC accused Pelosi of outright disrespect for repeatedly singling out newly elected women of color. So, is this going to work out?
Ladies. It's like it's disheartening. It's like the enemy is the guy tweeting in his toilet. That's who the enemy is, not each other. Stop it.
Yeah. But who are you talking to? Are you talking to Nancy Pelosi, the one that is not moving for impeachment, the one that isn't really holding Trump to account? Or are you talking to the 4 Justice Democrats that are trying to hold Trump to account, but are being blocked by Nancy Pelosi? Let's find out. And I usually like Joy, even though she's off a lot, but she's better on this panel than most of them. But yeah, I think we all know where this is going.
That makes me sad. I mean, the Democrats, we have to get rid of this guy, and this type of infighting is not helping. And I don't know about going to race right away. It's like, really, that's where you go right away? I thought that was a bit much, frankly. What do you say to that?
Well, I have a problem with how all these young women started out when they were accusing, older Democrats like myself of not getting what needed to be done in the.
Nobody's talking about you, Whoopi Goldberg. When they're challenging Democrats, they're talking about lawmakers, people that have power within the party. Why would they be targeting you? This is there was I think it's like a video a year ago from The View where Whoopi Goldberg is super confused about democratic socialism. She was saying, I shouldn't bring it up because I don't have the clip here, but she was basically saying, well, if you're just Democrats, why don't you call yourself Democrats? But that's like ideology is separate from party. But Whoopi Goldberg, again, someone that I like as a person, but does not know what she is talking about when it comes to politics.
In the country, and started saying, you haven't done this, and I do believe on the show, I said, well, so are you saying that the guys that, are in now didn't march across the Pettus Bridge? That wasn't important enough? And so, for me, when you start out telling people that they don't know what they're doing and get out of the way, it's annoying to people. So I don't think this had to do with color. I think this is more, I don't know, BS, because really Nancy Pelosi and Di Feinstein have both been there a zillion years by themselves fighting this cause of making life better. So
this is why it hurts.
You have to, well, yeah, I don't know what happens to.
Fighting for what? Like, okay, look, if you want to go back to the 90s, okay, they were fighting in the 90s. What have you done lately? Under the leadership of Nancy Pelosi and Barack Obama, the Democrats lost over 1,000 seats over the course of 8 years. They lost an election to Donald Trump, using their strategy of always giving in to the right, always capitulating to Republican positions. They kept losing and losing and losing. And you're in a situation now where you have Donald Trump as the president, and you're still not even willing to fight him properly. Like, what reality are these people living in? Do they actually follow what is going on? I mean, they're supposed to. They're on television educating millions of people about politics. This is why I covered them. A lot of people watch. This is where they get their news. This is where they get their politics from. This is the show they watch to learn things. So it's important that shows like mine cover this and expose how completely unaware these ladies are. It's sad. It's really sad that even when it comes to a talk show where you would hope the restraints of cable news aren't there. They have some time to think and work through ideas, and they aren't, we assume, aren't being given narratives, aren't being told by their producers what to think. But they toe the same line as MSNBC or CNN do. Oftentimes. Again, I actually think CNN in many ways has been getting better. They've had people on like Abdul El Sayed and Cenk Uygur, and Nina Turner was on for a while. I mean, there at least sometimes there's voices on there that represent the left, but there is nobody on this show that represents the left. Nobody. Sunny Hostin comes the closest, but even she here, I don't think has a good perspective on this.
To people, but please remember that the people who are here now, all you young people, you're on the shoulders of a whole bunch of people who came before you. And you have to stop discounting that. I know everybody has to have young people come in. That's the way of the world. But you can't start by saying that they didn't do their job, so get out of the way so you can do it.
Okay, is this like a generational thing where even if somebody sucks at their job, they fucking suck at what they're supposed to be doing right now, like holding Trump accountable? Nancy Pelosi fucking sucks at doing that you can't criticize them or you can't respond to criticism? I mean, again, remember how this all started. Nancy Pelosi is the one that gave a quote to an article in, I believe, the New York Times. And that's how it began. Nancy Pelosi disparaged the four Justice Democrats. And then the Justice Dems responded. AOC responded to that. That's how it began. Nancy Pelosi is the one flinging the shit. So to not be able to defend yourself and not be able to call out the obvious horrible leadership of the Democratic Party, this is like, yeah, let's all just obey leadership while the fucking ship goes down and the world burns. I mean, it's so completely ignorant.
It's not okay. Bottom line, at least for these ladies, keep your eye on the prize. Yeah. We're trying to get Trump out of office. Everybody around him is...
They are. Nancy Pelosi's not. The Justice Democrats are. AOC is Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, Ayanna Pressley. Others are trying to get Trump out. The leadership, which is Nancy Pelosi in the House, are not trying to get him out. So, like, it's fact-free. This is a fact-free world. Just make up shit as you go along. Even the apparent lefties on the show don't know what the fuck they're talking about when it comes to their own party.
Him is corrupt. I mean, so many people are corrupt around the guy. Mm-hmm. It's been a very, very difficult 2 years. I wake up every morning in the anxiety and stress.
Yes.
And that is the reason you stick together, to get him out.
Do these people hear themselves? Like, what are you talking about? They're trying to get him out. Nancy Pelosi's the one stopping it. I can't. I don't even know what to do with this. Isn't this just like self-explanatory? Okay, let's watch. There's more to this, by the way. That was the beginning. There's more to this. Let me just check on the chat to make sure everything's going well. All right, everyone seems good. I don't know what the hell is going on with the show. All right, everything's still good. Audio's still good. All right, let's get back. Oh, I got some, what are these called? Bits on Twitch. I'm still learning Twitch. Thank you, Pagan Beer. Awesome thank you for your bits. All right, back to, and by the way, if you want to ask questions, I'll be taking super chats once I finish this and then the Bernie Sanders clip. And I'll be here probably till like 4:45. So just to give you an idea. All right, let's get to this shit now. The rest of this shit.
Fortunate because I think what we're seeing is sort of this generational clash.
So Sunny Hostin is supposed to be the better one. I mean, she usually is in terms of these political issues. Even oftentimes she's defended AOC on this or on these various issues. Here, though, she also doesn't appear to know what the hell's going on.
That's the word I was
Yeah,
trying to find.
I think you're seeing this generational clash, and it's unfortunate because I would hope that they could work together and that Pelosi would harness this sort of fervor that they have brought into the party. I mean, they want to serve, obviously, this squad, and I think that they have energized a lot of people that normally wouldn't be that interested in politics, and that's a good thing. I think that's a very good thing. I think that, you know, the social media following can reflect some public sentiment, and I think that's interesting. But to Pelosi's point, they got 4 votes. They didn't have 2 million votes like they have on Twitter. Mm-hmm. And so both sides really need to come into the room and start speaking to.
What does that even mean? Yeah, they have 4 votes in the House because there's 4 of them. That's how it works. That doesn't mean they voted the wrong way. I mean, that's not it. So what? They have to they have to work together. Yeah, they're trying to pull the rest of the Democrats to the correct position. Again, fact-free world.
To each other, because my understanding is that Ocasio-Cortez and Pelosi haven't spoken to each other since February. And that's unfortunate because there can be power if the 2 generations get together.
And they were once on the cover of Rolling Stone together after the election. And lest we forget, it's Pelosi who delivered midterms, okay? And that's what I would say to these 4 women right here. It was her leadership, which I once questioned on this show. I no longer do. I would also like to say she's 79 years old. And she could be with her grandkids, she could be with her family, and I don't like her, I don't agree with her politics, but she's still serving her country. Mm-hmm. And that deserves respect from younger generations in the same way that I think that Joe Biden and everybody else who has dedicated their life to service deserves respect. For me as a Republican, I mean, I was texting memes to my...
There's no lack of... Okay, so first of all, I hope the audio's fine. For some reason in my ear, it's like cracking up. But there's no lack of respect. That isn't the issue. The issue is Nancy Pelosi is not actually fighting Trump. She's not actually being a leader. I mean, again, Nancy Pelosi started this entire fight. So you're asking people to not defend themselves, to not defend their positions, which are the correct positions to have. Like, I don't know what it's like to have their brains. It's very tough for me to try and understand how somebody can be so fucking stupid. How 4 people on the same panel can all be totally, completely stupid. Or is it 5? Whatever it is. All of
to my
them
friends,
don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Let them all fight it out because it's Democrat on Democrat crime. It's like fratricide. It's
because I can't hear her too much. It's really going to work on my nerves.
Fascinating to watch. Republicans don't do this when it comes down to the wire. Democrats do it all the time. Well, we don't anymore. Yeah. And I will
now
say,
they're lining up behind this fascist.
Yes, they are. And I will. And it's going to hurt
Yes.
you. But it's going to hurt you. But at the end of the day,
too.
Republicans see the bigger picture.
The one good thing that was said
Well,
here.
we don't anymore. Yeah. And I will
now
say,
they're lining up behind this fascist.
yes, they are. And I will. And it's going to hurt you.
Yeah, they're lining up behind a fascist. Exactly. So Republicans fall in. It's this idea of obeying power should take precedent over doing what's right. That's how conservatives think. That's all about falling into authoritarianism, where you're just looking to the supreme leader and just, yes, supreme leader, you're correct. But that's not what Democrats should be doing. That isn't what liberals should be doing, or lefties or progressives. Like, it's, again, just this stuff is so frustrating to me because I feel like it's just so obvious. But we're watching people on television constantly talk about this like they really have no clue.
Hurt you, but it's going to hurt you. But at the end of the day, Republicans see the bigger picture, most of them, when it comes to legislation and the Supreme Court. And if you're going to fight it out on the hard left like this and hard progressiveness, that's fine. But when it comes down to a general election, when these people, and Nancy Pelosi knows this, when you have to talk to coal miners in West Virginia, when you have to talk to people in Pennsylvania, when you have to talk to people who lost their jobs, I don't know if all this infighting is going to make that much.
Why don't you like her? You say you don't like her. Why don't?
Okay, hold up. My headphone is really not working well.
No other place in daytime does it like we do.
Women need to come forward, but they need to have support.
So come on and take a stand.
You didn't really think I'd hold anything back.
No.
Now is the time.
You got to be in the fight.
It is
audio still
time
going?
that we step up, that we speak out.
Women need their voice now more than ever.
The hell is that? What is going on? There is a screen talking right now. Oh my God, that was so weird. All right. There was audio going. I don't want to finish that. I think we get the point. These people don't know what's happening. Yeah, there was some other audio going on. Like the audio was playing while YouTube was paused. I don't really understand. But I want to see if I can bring up the Bernie clip. Oh, look, that's me. Okay. MSNBC. Okay, before I play this, to make sure my shit's working now.
Emergency border bill broke.
All right. I think it's working. Okay, so as I said, Bernie was on Rachel Maddow's show yesterday for like a 10-minute interview, but they only put up 2 minutes. So I watched, it was on the website yesterday on the main page. But now if you go there, it's all just Kamala Harris. Yeah. And I have no idea. Actually, maybe we'll watch some Kamala Harris too. And I have no idea where the hell it is. So we're going to stick to one clip. This one down here. I'm just going to yeah, all right. All right. So again, I'm going to play this, and then if there's any super chats, I'll take super chats, and I'll also check Twitch, see what's going on there. But let's check out Bernie. This will hopefully be a little more enjoyable than the other video. Actually, I think there's another view video I wanted to play today because I saw there is. Kamala Harris talks about that whole beef. So I want to see what she says. I haven't seen that yet. Actually, you know what? Since we're on topic, might as well go there. So let's go just to close the loop on the view shit. Because I'm actually kind of curious what Kamala's going to say. Because if you look, the one thing you should know about Kamala Harris, she's a good politician in terms of she's good at avoiding questions. she's good at lying a lot. At the same time, if she was so good, then I wouldn't be able to catch her. But she's not that good. But she's good in terms of lying to the point where it can trick the mainstream press. I mean, she's really good on CNN, MSNBC, The View. All her bullshit flies right by their heads because they're all fucking idiots. But in terms of that, she's solid. So let's see how she does on this question. When I find it. Here we go.
One of the bigger issues in watching these debates for me is I don't want to see you all cannibalizing each other, and that's what it felt like. I'm just going to say it, because we have discussions about what happened in the past, what was. I'm 55, baby, so I remember all the things that came, and I remember who ran this country. This country was not run by people friendly to us forever until maybe when John Kennedy came, and then we weren't even sure then.
Right.
So this is not a surprise. What I want to know, what I want to see you all explain to us all is what you're going to do to get this man
out of office.
That's
right.
I'm with you.
That's what I
Maybe impeachment? That's a possibility.
None of us at the table, I'm including us like we're on the thing, but none of us at this table, if you really check some of the mistakes we've made in our past, are going to come up as perfect. So we're going to find that in all these 55,000 people that are running. But I want to.
I was going to make a comment, but I'm just curious. If you really add up all the mistakes from all the candidates, all the, I guess, bad votes, that would actually be a very enlightening piece. Because you would really be able to see then, okay, let's see how Biden's record lines up with Bernie Sanders. I think the result is obvious. I mean, when you have somebody that's also what's kind of tricky about this, because Bernie and Biden have the longest records. So they're going to have the most mistakes. That said, how many mistakes has Bernie really had? The crime bill vote? Yeah. And he copped to that. At the same time, there's video of him online discussing why the crime bill is horrible. And the reason he voted for it was because it added money for the Violence Against Women Act. So that, because that was folded into the crime bill, it's kind of those damned if you do, damned if you don't. If he voted against the crime bill, they'll say, well, why did you vote against giving money to violence against women and helping? So either way, on some of these votes, are going to get dinged. But because Biden and Bernie have the longest records, they're going to have the most to scrutinize. But even with that, I would hold Bernie's record up to anybody in this race. I don't care how young they are. I don't care how new they are to Congress. Hold his record up to anybody else. I think it's going to be clear who is actually a fighter for the people. But let's get back to this.
To know that we are on the same page when it comes to getting that out, and that we are going to find the way to bring us back into balance. That's what I want to see. What you're going to do to help.
Well, you're absolutely right. But you're absolutely right. You're right. And there is no question in my mind that we, not only at this table, but we on that debate stage are of collective purpose in that regard. Listen, Donald Trump came into office on an agenda that was about make America great again. And then that, of course, begs the question again, for whom? And he has come into office making all kinds of promises to people, and he has betrayed so many of those people. He came in saying he was going to help
get him out. That's what I want to know. How are we getting him out?
We're going to prosecute the case against 4 more years of Donald Trump.
All right.
And there's a long rap sheet.
Okay.
You look at it in terms of him coming in saying he was going to help working people, farmers, auto workers. Okay, let's look at that. So trade policy by tweet is what we get from the guy. Going at it in a unilateral way, which has resulted, I'm spending a lot of time, as you can imagine, in Iowa, New Hampshire, Nevada, and South Carolina. In Iowa, farmers are looking at bankruptcy. They've got soybeans rotting in bins because they did the hard work of over a decade cultivating a market in China. that has now been cut off from them. Some are estimating that as many as 700,000 auto workers before the end of the year will lose their jobs. American families, because of this so-called trade policy, are spending $1.4 billion a month more in everything from shampoo to washing machines because of this so-called trade policy. And then what does he do? What else is on the rap sheet? He passes a tax bill that benefits the top 1% and the biggest corporations of this country. Meanwhile, crowing about this great economy of his. Well, let's have a conversation about that. You ask, how are you measuring the greatness of this economy of yours that you call it so great? Oh, by the stock market. Well, that's fine if you own stocks.
Yeah.
And guess what? 74% of the stocks that are owned in America are owned by the top 10%. That's not touching most people.
It's just funny that all these people, all the candidates, they're all pulling from Bernie's message because he has the message. He has the message that resonates. I mean, she's not wrong. Everything she's saying is solid. I mean, in terms of going after Trump, look, there's no reason to criticize any of these Democrats when they go after Trump. Go have at it. But it's just funny that their critique just mirrors his critique. And it has to be, because that's the only correct critique you can really have of the situation.
And you ask, well, how else are you measuring the greatness of the so-called economy of yours? And they talk about the unemployment numbers. Well, let me tell you something. I am traveling our country. People are working. They're working 2 and 3 jobs, and in our America, people should not have to work more than 1 job to have a roof over their head and food on the table.
So what are you going to do about that?
But what about the point that she's making that this infighting is going on in the Democratic Party? I mean, we talk about it, this AOC and this squad against Nancy, and then you and Biden have this thing. Is that hurting the party? Is that going to stop your goal? Is that going to impede your goal of getting him out?
Is it really infighting? This is a vetting process,
well,
isn't it?
Is it a vetting process? Let's
Well,
see
why don't we
what she
let
says.
Kamala answer?
Yeah.
I won't.
Well, first of all, I couldn't agree more that this has to be about pointing out what is not working and has not been working over the last couple of years with this administration. And it has to also be, and a very big part of my perspective, is not only, again, prosecuting the case against 4 more years based on the evidence of why it's not working for families and middle-class families, but it also has to be about saying, hey, time to turn the page and write the new chapter. And what does that look like? And it has to be about a vision for America in which everyone can see themselves. That's certainly how I think about it. And my policy priorities are based not on upending markets and transforming the system and all kinds of stuff that may or may not happen, but really about what I call the 3 o'clock in the morning priorities, right? And by that I mean the issues that wake people up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Because I'm going to tell you, when people are thinking...
How do you change those things without changing the system? I mean, even if you do what you want to do, if the people that still have power, that still control elections, still have that power, still have that wealth, still control the elections, then they'll just roll it all back next time. That's why you have to upend the system. If you don't change the system, then nothing actually changes for the long term. You have to have a long-term vision for the future. So this is a terrible answer. I mean, it's not just vague. Maybe she gets into specifics now, but it's not just vague. It's a horrible approach to how to do this.
Thinking about those issues, it is rarely through the lens of the party with which they're registered to vote.
Yeah.
It is rarely through the lens of some demographic some pollsters put them in. And it's about when they wake up, it's about their health care. It's about can they get a job and keep a job. I have a whole plan that's about education and teacher pay and closing the teacher pay gap. And I can go on and on.
Can you? Again, let's say she raises pay for teachers. Unless you give power back to unions and upend the system, take the power away from those that have it, make it permanent, move to public financing of elections. I mean, it doesn't matter what little movements you do around the edges, it's all going to go back and get worse, like it has after Obama. Obama is the perfect showcase to why you need a completely different approach to this, why you need a political revolution, why you need someone like Bernie Sanders to be able to go to different states and rally their Congress people to support certain pieces of legislation. I mean, we're just singing the same song, going down the same road as we did before, not changing anything or trying to pretend to change things, but not actually changing the system, which just leads to the same shit you have now. You're just going to get another Donald Trump, likely somebody worse, somebody that actually knows what the hell they're doing when they're in power. So just, yeah. Not impressed. All right. Yeah, let me get to this Bernie clip, and then I'll take some super chats if there are any. Got to check my I see a couple here. I'll check that list afterwards, and I'll also check on my Twitch people. Cool. All right. Let's get to Bernie.
We're back with Vermont Senator and 2020 Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders. Senator, thank you again for sticking with us. I have a last question for you, and it is a little bit of a sticky wicket, and I do not want you to be annoyed with me for asking. But it is the thing, when I talk to people about having you on the show today, it was the number one thing a lot of people wanted me to ask you about, which was the issue raised by Eric Swalwell, who has now dropped out of the race for president. In the debate, when he directed it to Vice President Biden, and his refrain was "pass the torch." That you've had your.
Can I just comment how that's what people, that was the number one question that people in Rachel Maddow's bubble wanted her to ask Bernie Sanders, was about his age? I mean, that alone tells you everything. That alone shows you how disconnected these people are. It's not, again, I'll let him answer, but it's not about age. It's about who you are. It's about what you represent. It's about your record. I mean, the answer to the question is obvious. Even if you don't support Bernie Sanders, the obvious answer to the question is it's not about age. It's about what you represent. But still, that was the number one question that people in Rachel Maddow's circle wanted her to ask him. I just don't, look, again, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get this mindset. I don't get these people. It's a completely different world.
Chance, you've been in politics for a long time, and we need younger leadership, basically making an overt age argument for why Vice President Biden shouldn't be the nominee, and implicitly why you shouldn't be the nominee. You called that ageist after the debate, but I wonder how you grapple with the substance of that argument.
You know, if you look at history, there were arguments why black people shouldn't be president, why women shouldn't be president. I think you have to look at the totality of the person. There are some people who are 90 who are a lot more active and energetic than people who are 50. You have to look at what somebody believes, what somebody is fighting for, what their experience is about. Just to look at age is, I think, missing the boat in a very, very deep way.
But he's talking about length of experience in the political system. I mean, You've been in public office since before Eric Swalwell was born. I mean, he's saying people who have been in the system, have been trying all this time to make change, need to get out of the way so that new voices can rise.
And what is those people's position? Do they believe in Medicare for all? Have they fought to raise the minimum wage? Have they been a leader in tackling the issues of climate change? Have they been on picket lines their whole lives standing with working people, been active in the women's movement, active in the gay movement? In other words, it's just not good enough to say, hey, I'm young, pass me the torch. You got to tell me what you stand for, what your vision of America is. And I think that is just not a satisfactory explanation.
Senator Sanders, it's great to have you here.
Good to be with you.
Come back soon.
Okay.
We'll be right back.
This is obvious. I mean, a great answer by Bernie, but that shouldn't have been a question. Like, how is that the number one question? I don't. Who are these people? Who are these people? It's just these people. Their whole lives are politics. And that's what they're focused on. Age. Not about policy. Not about how do you help people. Not even about, like, how do you get this stuff passed. That should be a number one question, which I think he actually answered in that interview, which, again, goes back to rallying people in different states and actually putting public pressure on these politicians. But, like, that was the number one question? I'm not going to get over it because it doesn't make any sense. All right. I got maybe a half an hour left here. Let me take some questions, some super chats. Let me get back to this. There we go. There we go. All's normal now. All right. Let me find the super chat page, which is always a fun adventure. Always got to find the super chat page. Buried somewhere. And then, don't worry, I'll get to my Twitch people. Wookie Smith also gave me some bits. Thank you, Wookie. All right, super chat. Someone on Twitch said I sound like an old man earlier. I'm not going to disagree with you. I'm still trying to comprehend Twitch, so yeah. I'm going to sound a little old when I really don't know what's going on there. But I will. I'll learn it. All right, a lot of super chats here. Okay, let me start with the first one. Holly Stevia. Thoughts on Kim Iverson, quote, Dems worse than Trump, end quote. I have no idea what you're talking about. I have no idea. I've heard of Kim Iverson's name, but I don't know what Dems worse than Trump means. There are some Democrats that I wouldn't say worse than Trump, but vote with him a lot. Henry Coyer, who is being challenged by a Justice Democrat, is pretty terrible. Needle Drop. Oh, shit. Needle Drop is here. Damn. Is Fantano still in here? Needle Drop asked a question. Shit. Pinkerton or Blue Album, David? And there is a wrong answer here. I'm going to say Blue Album. So I hope I got it right. Thank you for the super chat. Cutting Man 45. No question, but thank you for the super chat. Mariella Engel, appreciate your show. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Mariella. Mari Poza, no question, but thank you for the super chat. Kelsey Jones, Nancy Pelosi is basically a Republican. I mean, she's close. So that kind of set off another idea in my head. This is kind of where I think potentially everything's going. There is a chance here for there to kind of be three parties in a way, but so like I'm trying to figure out where these moderate Democrats are going to end up once they continue getting primaried by progressives. I mean, you have four solid ones right now in the House, but you also have Ro Khanna, who doesn't vote with AOC in the group all the time, but he's damn close. And there's a couple others as well. Jayapal is usually fantastic. So you have like this group of solid lefties in the Democratic Party. When they begin to primary more of these people out, where are they going? Are they going to then fill the Republican Party? Or is the Republican Party going to be the party of Trump till the end of time? Because that's a scary thought. So yeah, I think there's a fun conversation in there. Just trying to imagine how this will all play out in the end. Sarah, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for a second super chat. I don't see any questions, but thank you. Paul J.M. Hi, David. Love your show. Could people stop claiming that Switzerland has a single-payer healthcare system? It doesn't. It basically has Obamacare. Okay. Did somebody say that? I don't know anything about Switzerland's healthcare, so I'm not going to talk about it. Elephants on Coke. Centrists like the ones on The View are like dogs. They understand tone, not content. Behave, progressives. Don't criticize. I get what you're saying. I wouldn't really call the ladies on The View dogs or like dogs. I just don't think I don't think that's proper. But I get what you're saying in terms of, that it's emotion. A lot of people that cover politics, they're just taken in by personalities. Oh, I like this person's personality. Oh, this person had they spoke well here, but just completely disregarding like the actual content of who the person is, what they represent, what their record is. A lot of that definitely is that the centrists or people that are these moderates, they're just too focused on personalities. Q Bounty. Help crowdfund Anna Kasparian versus Nico House debate. I'm not going to help crowdfund that. No. They'll debate if they want to debate. Why would someone crowdfund that? The Lone Chemist. Love your channel, and you're one of my main inspirations. I make video essays. Oh, cool. I'll check your stuff out later. Big Bernie guy, but I'm curious if you were forced to accept one corporatist Democrat for president, who would it be? I mean, it's a question that really varies depending on who you think is a corporate Democrat. Like, I don't think Elizabeth Warren is, but some would say she is. You'll say, oh, her PAC money, she's taken $10 million in PAC money from her previous, whatever. It's $10 million. It's PAC money. It's her money she raised before. She's not raising it now. I guess she's going to raise. She said she's going to raise, if she wins a nomination, that Warren will raise money from wherever, which is a horrible idea. But I think if your choice was, I mean, if it came down to Warren and she won the nomination, you should be happy that it's not somebody else. I mean, obviously Bernie would be better, but I mean, it could be way, way, way worse than Elizabeth Warren. So, but if you think she's a corporatist Democrat, then Elizabeth Warren. But if you want to go, further down the line, I think, yeah. I mean, if I'm forced to accept one, I would say Kamala Harris, because I actually think that she would. I think she would beat Trump, and I think she would. She at least has a much better job than Joe Biden does, or Pete Buttigieg. So when it comes down to like the top 5 that are in the polls right now, so you got Biden, Bernie, Warren, Harris, Buttigieg. If you take out Bernie and Warren, I think Harris easily wins that group. So I would pick, I guess, Harris if it came down to it. What do you mean? A great YouTube channel says hashtag Bernie 2020 or get the fuck out. Come on, guys. I am personally boycotting the USA until every single one of them are covered by Medicare. I'm Aussie. I love you, Medicare. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm not going to boycott the US, but I totally get what you're saying. NOYDB. The House hearings are hot right now. Are they? Is that shit live? I can't do a live stream of that, but well, maybe that's something I'll cover. Jennifer Arbuckle. Yes, the boomer liberal woman says that all day long. I see it on Facebook. It seems to be generational. I don't know what comment you're referring to, but trying to figure out. Oh, just in terms of like what the View people were saying. Yeah, people get obsessed with I mean, part of it too, honestly, is just that they're misinformed. They're misinformed by what's on cable news, or what's in the New York Times or Washington Post. Even though there's more diverse thought in those papers if you actually read more than a couple articles, but yeah, a lot of it is people are misinformed. They have busy lives, but if you're on The View and your job, I mean, half of your job is educating people essentially on politics, maybe you should do a little more research. Oliver Kant. Hi, David. Have you been paying attention to the UK Prime Minister leadership race? I have not. And how bad is it we're not getting a general election over it? You're not? When is a general happening? So say they pick Boris. Is Boris going to be the prime minister for a while? Because that would be insane. But I got to do a little more UK politics. I used to cover it a lot more months ago and like last year. I just kind of got away from it, but I do need to educate myself more on what's happening. Winkle the Bernie bro. Does David Doe like to bowl? I haven't bowled in a long time. I do like to bowl when I've done it, but it's been a while. Gerardo Serrano, thanks for the super chat. King Kenyatta Love. You guys can win without BLP because reparations. I don't know what that means. Attract positive results. That's an account. Thank you. I think Kamala is best to kick Trump's butt. So, she's the best if we're talking about Biden, Buttigieg, Kamala. If you put Warren and Bernie in there, no, I don't think she is. Bernie's able to make the best case against him because Bernie is an actual populist. So you have Trump as the fake populist. You have Bernie who has some actual solutions. I mean, Trump during the campaign talked about, everyone's going to get health care. Obviously, he was full of shit. But the only real person that can make a case against that is Bernie Sanders, because he's been consistent on this message for 40 plus years. So you have somebody there who is an honest person, who has nothing in their track record to go after. Not to mention, I think this is actually the most important point. The way Bernie's raising money, which is why I think it also puts him above anybody else in the race. Even if he wins the nomination, he's not going to be taking, big donor money, because that is an obvious contrast you can make. And that's one that Trump tried to make as well in the Republican primary in 2015, 2016, was that, I'm self-funded. All these guys on this stage, they're all listening to their big donors. I can call them up and they do what I want. Even though he wasn't. Trump wasn't simply self-funded. He was taking in a lot of money, but he pretended to make that case. Bernie can actually make the case that he is not being propped up by any big donor money, that he is actually simply there to represent the people. All his money comes from individual donors. That's how you make the case that that Bernie is a person of the people, an actual man of the people, compared to Donald Trump, who is just a total fraud. So that's why I think Bernie is clearly could make the best case against Trump. Not to mention, of course, supporting the policies and actually trusting him on these issues. I actually trust Bernie to fight and to do everything he can to get things passed. All right. I do have to go soon, but I'm going to take as many super chats as I can and then check on Twitch. I mean, I really, when I go to the Twitch page, I just don't know what to say. There's so much going on and a lot of new faces. So it's just like, hey, someone called Borksad. How's it going? False agent. What's up? Other bully. How you doing? BLTNJ. What's going on? Kevin Ram or Ram. How's it going? Leftarium. There you go. Pagan Beer, who's giving me some bits. Wookie Smith giving me some bits. Zopher, who I don't think has been in this chat, but has given me some bits in the past. Everybody here really on Twitch, you're all great because I'm still growing this channel. And I will continue to grow this channel. So it's good to see you all here. But I'm so based God. Also, shout out. A lot of people here that are cool. Malias, how's it going? Usual Sam. Thought it was some other word. There you go. I think I pretty much called out everybody in the Twitch chat. But back to Super Chat. All right. Polyfufu, thoughts on Shahid Buttar running to replace Pelosi? I got to look more into Shahid Buttar. So I will let you know. Joe Siegel, how would you feel about putting Bernie's link in the bottom third of your show till it's over? We win, berniesanders.com/volunteer. No, that's too much. Like, obviously, I think I support Bernie. I'm not going to put his link to his. If you support Bernie, berniesanders.com. I think it's a pretty obvious place to go. So I don't think I need to link to it. But hey, if you want to comment on my channel or on my videos and with the link, then be my guest. Refugee Kalicious. Minimum wage should be $22 if kept up with productivity. Yeah, I think you are right on that. And I mean, it would be a hard transition if you went from, I don't even know where it is now in the US, but if you went from, under $10 to 22, it's going to be an issue. But yeah, that's where it should be. I mean, again, it shows you people with power, people with concentrated wealth. There are people that dictate how these elections play out. And it's not like dark rooms with, smoke-filled rooms. No, it's just they have lots of money. They give to the candidate that they know will listen to them, the big donors, and then those candidates win. 9 out of 10 times, the candidate with the most money wins the race. It's as easy as that. So if a group like the Just Democrats can come in and change that, and they are beginning to change that, then awesome. But that's why none of you have power. All right. I think I'm almost out of super chats here, and I gotta go soon anyways. But I want to pull something from Twitch here. Come on, guys, give me something. Give me something I can talk about. Fuck that. Link to Marianne Williamson. You just gave me an idea. I saw an interview with Marianne Williamson today, and I actually liked it. I'm not going to lie. Now, look, I don't want Marianne Williamson to be president. Let's just be honest. But I don't like in terms of this race, there are way worse people than Williamson. Way worse. Let's play just a little bit of this from Bloomberg. Once I get my screen up. Actually, you know what? I think Bloomberg has issues with copyright stuff, so I can't. Yeah, if I play this, I might be pulled down. So we're not going to do that. But if you go to Marianne Williamson's page, let me give you the background here. It's on MSN. If you go to her Twitter page, watch this interview. You may be impressed. I thought she did a pretty good job there. So there was one answer, didn't care for it too much, but otherwise, I think she's fine in terms of her outlook. Again, nobody's saying Williamson 2020, but I think she gets too much shit for being a nice person. I mean, if you're just somebody you're spreading love, then why so much hate? It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. All right, what was I doing? Oh yeah, Twitch. Let me pull out one comment here. I guess that kind of was one comment, but I got maybe 5 more minutes here, so I'm going to pull something else. Gravel or Gravel. I keep calling it, it's spelled Gravel. Let's just be honest. Mike Gravel is spelled Mike Gravel. But with that said, I think so here's my evolution on this issue. So Mike Gravel, if you don't know, he's kind of quasi running for president. I don't think he's really running for president, but he's this left-wing dude who basically, if he's on the debate stage, he will call out the bullshit of the other candidates on stage, which is I think is important to have someone like that on there. I mean, when you saw with Bill de Blasio in the first debate, you may not support Bill de Blasio for president, but he did a pretty good job calling out where the Democratic Party should be on the issues. So I think it's good to have as many voices like that as possible on stage. So I don't even know Mike Gravel's website. I'm guessing Gravel 2020. But let me get there. Yeah, he has an ad too against Joe Biden. But let me show you the page. So I think he's really close right now to hitting what he needs to in order to make the debate stage. So if you go to mikegravel.org and you go to donate, I believe if they haven't hit it already, I mean, they were pretty close. I think last I checked, they were like 3,000 donations away. So donate $1 to Mike Gravel. Get him on the debate stage. That would be enjoyable. So there you go. All right. Here's a question from Present Me with Logic. David, what would you say to someone running on a ticket of being paid minimum wage or $15 an hour to push for a $15 an hour minimum wage? Wait, what? What would you say to someone running on a ticket of being paid minimum wage? What would you say to someone running on a ticket of being paid minimum wage? Who's running on a ticket while being paid minimum wage? I don't think I'm understanding the question. But so what would I say to push support for $15 an hour if that's your question? I don't know. I mean, the fact that people are working like 2 or 3 jobs in order to live. I mean, that's I guess you make the case that how's shit going right now? There's so much money concentrated at the top. I mean, the idea, tell them this, Betsy DeVos has 10 yachts. One person has 10 yachts. And that's probably just I bet you there's people that have more yachts than that. So if somebody can own 10 yachts, the system is rigged. So something has to be done to change it. You can't have people with that much money. It's insane. I mean, I say this a lot, but I really do not think people understand how much money just $1 million is, let alone 2 million, 3 million, 4 million. Then we get to a billion, 1,000 millions. I mean, it's just, this is money that you will never in your life be able to spend. And you also shouldn't be giving, like, your kids shouldn't be starting off set for life, because then there's no, a lot of the times what happens is you end up with someone like Donald Trump. So people who are born into wealth oftentimes end up being horrible people because they never experience real struggle. They never experience what life is really like for the average person. There are the exceptions, of course. They're out there, but for the most part, people that are born into wealth are oftentimes not good people. So even if you want to, leave your money, leave your billions to your kids, that is a horrible idea. Oh my God. I'm not even going to read what I just read on there. Twitch, people settle down. You need to settle down. All right. You can always tell when we're reaching the end of the stream when I'm looking for more questions, because I end up enjoying myself a lot, almost too much. And I don't want to go. Oh, here's a super chat. Rachel Atwood. Shahid Buttar is a sick poet and rapper. Oh, really? Well, then, I support Shahid Buttar. I mean, I would support Shahid Buttar. I would support anybody against Nancy Pelosi at this point. I don't think it really. The bar isn't too high, but I trust people in their support of Shahid Buttar, because it seems like everyone's repping this guy. All right. True. Tell people from I'm So Based God. Tell people to tag your name if they have a question so you can skim easier. All right. So Twitch people, tag my name. Though you're not super chat people, so I'm not gonna answer all your questions. But I will pull out a couple and see where it goes. All right, from Wookie Smith on Twitch. Why do corporate Dems call us leftist? Dingell, Kennedy were for Medicare for all. Nixon was for ACA. Corporate Dems have run to the right. We haven't gone left. Who's us? I don't know who us is. Why do corporate Dems call us leftist? Well, I mean, the obvious is people that are challenging corporate Democrats are to the left of them. That's where they're coming from. So it's just from their perspective. I mean, if we're talking about the entire spectrum and how far to the right the entire, where the Overton window is, yeah, obviously the left, like Bernie Sanders is really center left if you're talking about, world politics or trying to compare to other countries. But just in terms of how you view how everything's going right now, in terms of who's actually in power, yeah, Bernie's to the left of who's in power. So I think it's just in terms, it completely depends on how you view these terms and what perspective you're using to actually frame them. So it always gets kind of, confusing that way. But so I guess it's important to kind of to discuss the framing from where you're coming from when you're saying somebody is left or right. When I'm saying it, usually it's from the view of electoral politics. So in that sense, Bernie is left, AOC is left. These are all left-wing politicians. But yeah, I mean, you like Medicare for all shouldn't be a left-wing position. It should be an obvious position. All right. Let me grab a couple more from Twitch and then check Super Chat before I go and then get out of here. Oh, by the way, before I say anything else, because I'm going to forget, I'm going to be on the Michael Brooks show on Tuesday. So you're going to want to check that out. Let me pull up Michael's tweet here. Once I find it. Okay, I can't find it. Let me go to my profile. There we go. All right. Right here. There you go. Tuesday at around 6 New York City time, 6 p.m. New York City time. I'm going to be on TMBS. So sub to Michael Brooks. Check out his show. He has a great show. I learned a ton from that show. Like the Michael Brooks show, Majority Report, especially like when they have guests on, that they always have guests on, but their guests are often fantastic too. So check it out. We're going to be talking Canadian politics. I'm not too sure yet what else we're discussing. We may briefly touch on Marianne Williamson, kind of. You're going to see what I'm saying if we do that. But check it out. It's going to be a good time. All right. Back to this. All right. Again, almost done. Just having a good time here. You're going to have, so this is from J-Rocks. You're going to have a Sebastian Gorka impression off. I haven't done my Sebastian Gorka in a while, so I'm not going to do a live read right now. But, yeah, I can't do it now. But, hey, if I practice, maybe we will. Maybe I'll pull it out randomly. All right. Yeah, this from Severin666, the last one I'm going to read from Twitch. Have you seen that YouTube is now pushing legacy news and censoring progressive independent media? Indeed. Actually, let me show you my tweet. I really enjoy that I can do this. I can just like chill down here and then pull this up. So I tweeted about this recently. So David Pakman has a good video on this that I saw after I posted my stuff. But like, you're going to see once I pull it up. Here we go. All right. So this is what I tweeted out earlier this week. As we've assumed, YouTube is silencing independent media. For the entire existence of my channel, most views came from people who were not subscribed, but around the end of May, that completely changed, and views are noticeably down overall. Here is what I mean. So, you see here? So this is from January this year to earlier this week. So, as you can see, most views were from people that were not subscribed. And that's the blue line. So the blue line always had more viewers because obviously, that's just the way it works out. I mean, for any time people watch videos, most of the time people are not subscribed to that channel when they're watching the video. But look what happened later on. We get down to here. I mean, look at the lines. They're right together. So there's almost no difference here. So it went from it being like this huge difference. Again, go back to the previous one. So not subscribed, 53. Subscribed viewers, 6,000. To 5844. And there were some days, for the first time ever, there were some days here, I'm not sure if you can see, that like right here, where subscribed viewers actually surpassed not subscribed viewers. So what's happening is it appears around the end of May, maybe even around here, the beginning of May, they essentially, YouTube is now suggesting videos that are not independent media. So before, say you click on a video about Bernie Sanders, you would be recommended a video from me or Kyle Kalinske or whoever. Now, if you watch a political video, they're more likely to suggest you a video from MSNBC, CNN, or wherever. So, I'm not even sure if we're in suggested videos at this point. Like, I don't know how exactly this has happened, but it happened. So, whatever they're doing, they are purposely silencing independent media, which is why it is very important to support me on Patreon if you can. Why am I making it harder on myself than it already is? therationalnational.com/join. That will get you to the page. There you go. therationalnational.com/join. Become a patron and help the channel. Support independent media. This is how, and you see there sometimes I post. So usually what I post on here for patrons is early access stuff. So say a video gets demonetized. What I often do is I appeal it and then I share it with patrons so people can watch it early. Also, I mean, there's also you could also support me on the YouTube join button. So if I watch myself hilariously for a support independent media, go down here, you hit join, so you can also do that. Or on PayPal, paypal.me/David Dole. That is actually linked below the video on YouTube. And these are all ways you can support me. And of course, can't forget on Twitch. So twitch.tv/therationalnational. Become a subscriber, at least follow me, hand me over some bits. I'll figure out what to do with those bits. But at some point, I'm sure I can use these bits. But yeah, so there may come a time where we're not suggested at all on YouTube. And it's just going to be, the big corporate players. So again, we have no idea how any of this works out. When a video is demonetized, we have no idea why. They don't tell us. They're just saying, oh, it may offend advertisers, but they don't tell us what part, like why, what did we say? Nothing. Again, there is zero communication. YouTube is one of the worst in terms of being able to communicate with creators about what is going on. So that's what we have to live with. And unfortunately, we're stuck with this platform largely because YouTube has the biggest audience. And if you want to get your message out, if you want to educate people, you got to be on YouTube. So while I do have Twitch and I will keep growing Twitch, it's just a whole different format. So my YouTube format, putting out YouTube segments where they're like pre-researched, I plan them out. It's a little harder to do that on Twitch, though I guess I could kind of still do it. But yeah, you got to support the channel. Keep me going. I'm going to do one more refresh of Super Chat in case anything came in. And if not, I'm going to get out of here. Oh, shit. More came in. Okay. A lot more came in. All right. I got to go soon. So let me go through these. Mary Posa. David, I posted the link to the full Bernie interview. Okay. So when you send me Super Chats, if you post a link in them, the link doesn't show up. Just so people know. Maybe that's why I'm getting some blanks here. I do not get... Links aren't showing up in Super Chats for me. So that's what that is. Super Chat wouldn't let me post in the highlight. Yeah, I don't know why. Yeah, I can't see the link. Sorry. But thank you for the Super Chat. Gregory Shavers Jr. Can JD pick up more seats in Congress? Just Democrats? Yes, they can. They are running more people. I did a video. At the beginning of my stream, I went over who's running. So far in 2020, they're going to announce more. So they can, and I think they will. Fernando Fernandez, which is an awesome name, by the way. How would you feel as an alternative to Medicare for all? We instead build out a public healthcare system, much like the UK, but keep private healthcare for those who want it, much like private public school. I think that's a much harder hill to climb than Medicare for all. Medicare already exists, guarantees everyone healthcare. It's paid through your taxes. It's universal to everyone. And because it's universal, you know that it won't be underfunded. I mean, if you're getting the same healthcare as your congressman, then you better bet that the healthcare is not going to be horrible. So there is I think a good reason to not have private insurance duplicate what universal healthcare provides. Fernando Avalos, thank you for the super chat. I don't see anything in there. So if you sent a link, I do not see it. Tayray88, why do you like Warren more than Tulsi? I'm not going to get into this again. Go watch my previous streams. I just don't think Tulsi's in the debate right now. She's polling at 1-2%. So I don't think it makes sense to really have the conversation. Costello West, hashtag Warren. I think that's Warren without an E. is not progressive. Kamala is not progressive. Okay. Thank you for the super chat. All right. One more refresh just in case. Luckily, I refreshed it. Komori Amy. Dave, please cover the problems with the new government of Alberta. They're cutting taxes for the rich and lowering wages from the government of Alberta employees. Several unions are suing the government now. Yeah. Here's the thing. I'm not in I have zero idea what's going on in Alberta. I cover American politics often. When I don't, there was someone that messaged me asking me to cover like Alaska. I'll just be honest. I produce 2 videos a day. I'm one person. If I'm not covering the main stories that I normally cover, then I'm going to cover a Canadian story or a story from Ontario, and occasionally a story from the UK. So it's hard for me to really get it's possible. It's possible I'll cover Alberta. It's possible. Like, I'm not going to rule it out, but it's just unlikely considering the what my usual content is. But I will say though, Christo Avalis, follow him. Actually, let me rep him right now, because he has great Canadian stuff. If you want like a lot of Canadian content, most of his stuff is Canadian content. So before I go, I'm going to give him a shout out. Right here. Check him out. He has fantastic Canadian stuff. I've had him on my my YouTube show a couple times. When I had my radio show, he was a guest that came on a lot. So he's great. He's a historian. He knows a lot. He's a great resource for information. So check out Christo Avalis. Just search his name. You'll find it. AIV. Let me zoom in. There you go. AIVALIS. All right. I'll just refresh one last time on Super Chat. And by the way, for the Twitch people, I do want to do some gaming at some point. I may do some gaming this weekend. So if you want to see me, chill out, talk to the Twitch audience, then follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/TheRationalNational. I might game this weekend. So that'll be fun. All right, one last refresh on Super Chat before I get out. Okay, no more. So thank you everybody. Great, fun time, and I need to get a proper schedule. I need to tell people when to expect these. I'm just not the kind of person that knows when I'm going to be doing these. I mean, yeah. Sometimes I'm in the mood for them. Sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I gotta go somewhere, or I'm busy, so I can't do it. So it's really hard for me to keep a schedule. But I will see if I can. I will maybe one day soon sit down and try to devise a schedule where these live streams will be a regular thing, so you know exactly when to tune in and watch them. But until then, make sure you hit the bell notification. Where is it? Below here somewhere. If you're on YouTube, hit that bell to be told when I'm going to be online, or when a video is going up, so you know what's happening. All right. Thanks for watching. Later.